I I'm a Lego maniac. Look, I can't help it. I've been building with these Danish plastic blocks for as long as I can remember. I collect all sorts of Lego sets, everything from classic Legoland Space to the Lego Movie. I've got complete sets of 16 for every series of minifigures, plus 2 Mr. Gold minifigures that I ordered off of eBay for $9,999.98 each. My basement is occupied with tables and shelves adorned with models to the point where it's impossible to walk around without bumping into something. I subscribed to Brick Kicks back in 1987, and after that went out of print, I followed up with the Lego Mania, Lego Magazine, Brickmaster Magazine, and now Lego Club Magazine. Plus issues of Lego Adventures and the World Club Magazine that I imported from Europe. I've still got every Lego t-shirt from the 90s, even though none of them fit me anymore. Including one awesome shirt that I got with some UFO Land Rover for only $5.99. My wallet is so thin since crack is cheaper, but I'm always the first to check to see if the local Lego store has received the latest shipments of the Ultimate Collector Series Star Wars sets. Some may say that at the ripe age of 38, my life is a wreck, but that's the life of a Lego maniac. But let's talk about Lego video games. When a Lego Island first came out in 1987, my mind was blown and was totally awesome, dude. And it was the 90s, which meant you could say totally awesome, dude, in public without people staring at you. Ever since then, I've collected every single Lego video game, plus any re-releases. This even includes titles such as Gladiator and Bionicle the game, which is total garbage, but I still play them because they're Lego. And even though TT Games' latest title, the Lego Movie video game, is just another version of the Lego Star Wars without any of the novelty or fun of the first 500 versions of Lego Star Wars that they've released in the past 2 years, I still love it because I'm that much of a Lego maniac. But sadly, there is one Lego game that I thought that I would never be able to play and enjoy again. Lego Universe. That is, until one fateful day, this past winter, I was playing the Lego video game on the PC, checking out a cool cheat code that unlocks Johnny Thunder and wondering why he wasn't available from the start. Because clearly everyone would want to play as him, so it's a mystery why you can't play as him unless you know the cheat code. It was about 1:53 in the afternoon when I heard my grandmother screaming at me, "Zach! The mailman arrived 2 hours ago! Stop playing that game and make yourself useful, young man!" "Fine, Grandma!" I yelled back at her. Annoyed, I paused the game and went outside to collect the mail. As I brought it inside the house and put it down on the kitchen table, I was expecting to find another unemployed check. Instead, much to my surprise, I found a CD case and a note. Even though it was written very messily as though its writer was in a hurry, I immediately recognized the handwriting on the note, belonging to my old friend and former fellow Lego maniac, Jack. Zach. I've had enough of this. I can't handle it anymore. It's too much for me. I had to get rid of this somehow, but instead of destroying it myself or just selling it on eBay, I thought giving it you to was a much better option. Please don't make me regret this decision by doing something stupid that would end up being written about it in some lame, over-cliched creepypasta. Please, Zach, you have to destroy this disc because I cannot, for some poorly explained reasons. It's only way. It's the only way, Zach. Do not play it. Please, for love of all that is holy, whatever you do, do not play it. I trust you as a friend, Zach. Please don't make me feel my trust has been misplaced by going against what I'm telling you. Do not play it. Do not even think about playing it. Do not even think about not playing it. You cannot let yourself be tempted, even though it is the only fully functional copy of Lego Universe that still works Oh, wow. A fully functional copy of Lego Universe that still works offline. Everything else doesn't matter as soon as I read those words. Finally, I was about to play Lego Universe again. It was Lego Maniac's dream come true. With that, I tossed aside the note and looked at the CD. It was blank and plain on appearance, though the words Bob EXE were scrawled on it with a permanent black marker. I immediately recalled that the Bob was the name of the Lego Universe's mascot, and that only reminded me of how excited I was to play this game. I rushed back inside to my computer and immediately exited out of the Lego movie video game, and in my haste, I even forgot to save. Not that it mattered anyway. I took out the disc for the Lego movie video game and threw in the CD for Bob.exe so quickly that I nearly shattered it to pieces in my excitement. This opened the Lego Universe patcher and started downloading some new files before saying it was ready to play. I launched the game and it brought me to the main menu. Everything was just as I remembered. The music brought by Brian Tyler, the funny little animations with the Nexus astronaut and the dragon in the background, and, of course, Bob himself, standing cheerily next to the log in the menu to welcome me back to this friendly universe. I typed my Lego.com username and password and clicked the blue arrow to continue. The connecting to authentication message popped up. And then, for approximately 0.51 seconds, the game flashed something very different. Something that I'm somehow able to remember perfectly in the instant it appeared. The Lego Universe logo no longer looked polished out but now rusted. The white, bubbly clouds had vanished, and the blue, gradient sky had turned red. The blue trees on the horizon turned black and looked like they had been burned, left bare to the blackened bark. The Nexus astronaut was lying on the floor, which was no longer white, but resembled the scorched earth of a volcano. And the dragon stood over him with a vicious intent. Down at the bottom of the screen, where it normally says Copyright 2011, the Lego Group, the year was replaced with 666, and there was blood, hyper-realistic blood. Blood on the logo, blood on the trees, blood on the Nexus astronaut, blood on the floor, blood dripping from the dragon's maw, blood on the blood, blood. But worst of all was Bob. He looked fairly normal, staring at me with perpetual smile. But there was something horribly wrong about his normally comforting smile, and there was blood dripping from his empty black eyes. But as I said that, the approximately 0.51 seconds, so it did not bother me. I just thought I imagined it. My therapist often tells me that I imagine things. He just doesn't understand. All I need to do is just imagine. After that, it stayed on the connecting authentication screen for about 10.3 seconds before moving on the character select screen. To my surprise, none of the 4 characters displayed were my characters prior to Lego Universe Closure. Instead, they were NPCs from the game, but not just any NPCs. They were Hailstorm Vander Darkflame, Duke Exter, and Dr. Overbuild. In my excitement, I did not notice right away a few things that seemed wrong. In the background, there was normally a bunch of blue tinted figures playing around. Here, they were red tint instead of the and appeared to be missing their heads. And there was probably some blood too. The background music sounded like it was 50% slower and in reverse for some reason. And I could swear that some parts of the reversed song almost sounded like of the ticking of a clock, but I was sure that this wasn't something symbolic or anything. I wasn't worried. So what if there was a few graphical and auditory glitches? I was going to play Universe again, and I was going to play as Hailstorm and the other faction leaders. Without hesitation, I selected Hailstorm and pressed the blue arrow to continue. Or rather, I would have pressed the blue arrow, but for some reason it was red. Yeah. And when I clicked it, I could have sworn that I heard a high-pitched laughter in the background, sounding almost like an echoing version of Bob's laughter. The screen went black for a loose estimate of 9.896 seconds. Then the loading screen popped up and said that my destination was the Venture Explorer. Now, this was the first time I thought something was odd. Was Hailstone's save file really on the tutorial level of the game? I also noticed that Venture Explorer's artwork depicted some spaceship looking even more wrecked than I remembered. I just assumed that this was the one of those new files that downloaded. Probably some cool hyper-realistic graphics update that was never released thanks to LEGO Universe installation. When Hellstorm spawned on the Valenture Explorer, the first thing I noticed was the Venture Explorer interior was also considerably more wrecked than I remembered it. With the entire pieces of the walkway chewed up into pieces, the nearby pods of sleeping minifigures in suspended animation were cracked open, but the minifigures inside remained lifeless. At first, Jet Monchute was nowhere to be seen, but then I found his body, smashed to pieces, and a pull of, pull of blood. I'm killing myself tonight.